Have you ever been in a situation where somebody asks you a question and your mind just completely goes blank? You can't formulate your thoughts, and when you do speak, it doesn't come out how you intended it to. You can't really make a point. You stutter, you mutter, you blah, 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 and you feel terrible. In this video, I'm going to share with you some tips, strategies, techniques you can use to master your impromptu speaking skills, whether it be for a job interview, a networking event, or if you want to win Best Table Topics at Toastmasters International. The first tip actually comes from my good friend, Alexander Burr.
Talk less. What? Smile more.
When you're asked a question, take a minute to breathe and be comfortable with that silence. It's okay to sit there and think for a minute before you come up with your answer and you formulate your full thought and then let it out. Talk less, smile more. Tip number 2 comes from the Marines. We don't rise to our level of expectations, but we fall to the level of our training. The real problem you're going to have is that you don't have training when it comes to impromptu speaking. And I get it. The very nature of impromptu speaking means you don't know what question you're going to be asked, so you don't know how to answer it or prepare for it. What you can train for is being able to come up with and formulate answers to questions. The most well-known training widely available is Toastmasters International. They have a whole section called Table Topics where you practice your impromptu speaking. But there are other ways to go about it if you don't want to go to Toastmasters. You can simply go into Google and type Table Topics Generator, and you can pull up some random questions, and I highly recommend that you go and find the hardest questions, the hardest prompts, come up with a 2-minute speech on the hardest one. It's really easy to talk for 2 minutes about what would you do if you're the last person on earth, a fun little idea that I've thought about 1,000 times. But if they're like, come up with a 2-minute speech on lemons, that's random, that's hard. Challenge yourself to talk about lemons for 2 minutes. It's stupid, but it works. Have a framework for how you answer questions. This is especially true when it comes to interviews. One that I like to use is something called the STAR method. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. You start by describing a situation or event, laying the groundwork for this story. Then you talk about the task or the goal that had to be achieved. Then you share the action steps you took. And finally, the results that were generated from your actions. It's a really easy framework you can use to answer any job interview. But another one that I like to use is something called the reverse pyramid. Back in the day when newspaper columnists actually had a physical paper, the columnists didn't know how much room they had to write an article. So what they did is at the start of every article was the most pertinent pieces of information. This is the who, what, where, when, and why. From there it goes into the body. It expands out the story even further. And if they have time, it comes to the tail, which has all the interesting or unique details that are just captivating. That way an editor could go, okay, your story is this long, well, we gotta chop it here because this is how much room we have, and you would still be able to get all the pertinent information in because who, what, where, when, and why is instantly told. You can use this when you're doing your table topics or your impromptu speaking. Cover the who, what, where, when, why. And then if you still have time, expand out and tell a story. Which leads me to my next point. Make everything personal. There's a million ways to answer any sort of question, but the thing that is most interesting is what's unique to you. So tell a story of a time where you had lemons for the first time, or you saw a video of the child eating the lemon and or whatever it might be. Make it a personal story. That's interesting. I want to know your story. One of the most important techniques, which I probably should have put at the very beginning, is to pay attention and listen. It is so hard at times when you're in a long, say, Toastmasters meeting and the table topic section comes up and you want to go and just hide and not be called upon. Stop, pay attention, and listen. And hopefully, if you're paying attention, you can even call back somebody else's answer or something referenced earlier in the conversation. And a callback is a really powerful technique. It allows people to know that you are paying attention, that you care about them, and you respect their time. Not to mention, it's a good way to make a joke. And my last tip for you is to take a deep breath and relax. There's no way you can fail. Generally speaking, nobody ever gets fired because they've done a poor presentation. Hopefully, you're not being blindsided that you have to give a presentation, and you've taken the time and energy to go to a Toastmasters and practice your public speaking. Anytime you have those impromptu speaking opportunities, you should be able to give yourself the time and space to prepare beforehand so you can fall to the level of your training. Go join Toastmasters, download the app Speako, practice by recording yourself speaking to a camera. Give yourself the respect to actually learn the skill sets, and you can be a master at impromptu speaking. If you guys found this video helpful, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, I have a whole bunch more videos on public speaking, so if this is an area you want to improve in your life, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.